All right, old school NBA fans, self-researched NBA facts. Got another video for you. As always, thanks to anybody who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Whenever I do videos that involve certain players or whatever, I always get pushback all the time, and I'm sure this one will be no different. Whenever I talk about something that has either rarely been done or never been done, it's always going to be the same thing. No matter what I say, you've already got it built into your mind that it's no big deal. You got the reasons ready to go why it happened. So, quite simply, in this video, what I'm going to talk about, and I did do a video a few days ago about the Bulls winning 9 out of 10 road finals games. Insane. No one's ever pulled that feat off. In fact, there was only a couple people that did 9 out of 10 road playoff games, just regular playoff games. Again, you would have to have the mindset of that the Chicago Bulls had the best team of all time, and they were playing the worst competition of all time. And we all know that's not true. I did a video just yesterday about the defenses, and the 90s really stood out. Somebody commented that the 93 team was Jordan Dumars, Pippen Rodman, and Olajuwon. And exactly. I mean, it was so stacked that players like Alonzo Mourning, Patrick Ewing, couldn't even really make all defenses because of how good the competition was. You had Mutombo, you had David Robinson, you had Olajuwon, who were fixtures in the All-NBA and all defenses. You also had Shaq. So guys like a Ewing or a Mourning, they had no chance at getting it. You know, you're the fourth or fifth best center in your era, and you're still probably top 15 all time, but you just happen to be in an era where it was just so stacked with centers, and the guards were really good too. Some very good defensive guards, underrated players. You know, I've already talked about Alvin Robertson. Mookie Blaylock was another one, very good defensive player. But anyway, the 90s did not have weak competition. They didn't have the Hall of Famers per se because, A, they weren't winning the championships. And that's like the main criteria that they let these people in now is being part of championship teams. No matter how deep down the bench you go, they're putting them in the Hall of Fame. It's ridiculous. And, the other criteria just doesn't really seem to involve a whole lot of defense. They got Michael Cooper in the Hall of Fame, but come on, the guy played 30 minutes one time in his whole career. It's ridiculous. But anyway, the 90s was stout with defense. It was probably the best defensive era ever. The 2000s a close second. They had some really good players as well. A lot of those players, some of them played in both decades. But anyway, in this particular video, what I'm talking about is the very impressive, very incredible stretch that the Bulls did in the finals. And this isn't road. This is just finals. And the fact they did the majority of it in the first three-peat, to me, scores even bigger points. So you can't roll out all these names. 4 Hall of Famers, 3 top 75 players, blah, blah, blah. Legendary coach Phil Jackson, who, people still want to beat that drum about Phil Jackson. Well, let me tell you, and I've done a video on this. It seems like I've done a video on everything. But Phil Jackson came from the CBA, all right? He interviewed in the early 80s, I think there was the Nets was one of the teams, and there was another team as well. He interviewed for assistant coaching jobs. He didn't get it. He stayed in the CBA. The Bulls took a chance on Phil Jackson as an assistant for the specific reason of learning Tex Winter's offense. All right? And if the triangle is so effective, why doesn't every team run it? Why didn't every team run it in the 90s and the 2000s? I'm not saying it wasn't. It did help the teammates, no doubt about it. But Michael Jordan's numbers were just as good with or without Phil Jackson. They were the same, essentially. Doug Collins was actually the one that was, showing Jordan to share the ball a little more, involve his teammates more. The 89 season, you could really see his, assist numbers going up, running the point guard a lot more. So they were on their way up. All Jordan needed was some competent help, like some real legitimate help. He didn't need a team full of all-stars and Hall of Famers. Competent help. And he was getting it, but these players weren't developed yet. And the notion that without Phil Jackson, the Bulls were going to win 45 games? I mean, you're kidding, right? When Jordan, Pippen, Horace Grant, and B.J. Armstrong was starting to get better, when that team was getting fully developed by 91, 92, and 93, the first three-peat, it didn't matter who the coach was. And I stand behind that. That team was a championship-level team, regardless of the coach. So without Phil, the Bulls would have won 48 games, got beat in the second round. No, you guys are just stupid, Todd. You sound ridiculous when you say this stuff. But anyway, the Bulls in the finals, they had a stretch of winning 15 out of 19 games. I never hear anybody talking about it. They lost game 1 of the 91 finals. They won. The gentlemen swept the Lakers, so they won 4 in a row. They beat Portland 4-2. They beat Phoenix 4-2. So that's 4, 8, 12, and 4. And they were 3-0 against Seattle. So they won 15 out of 19 finals games. And I'm going to look at my top 25 and see how they did. Now, I'll include Isaiah Thomas, for example, who did win 8 out of 9 in the 89 and 90 finals, which that's excellent. Winning 8 out of 9, that's great. I mean, that's among the best, I think. And then in the 88, they lost, lost in 7. So they were 11-5 essentially in their 3 finals runs, 11-5. So they won 11 out of 16. So if you're thinking about Detroit, no, they didn't win 15 out of 19 games. So just sticking with my top 25, I took out Giannis and Jokic, who are in the middle of their career. Makes no sense to even put them in. They both won. Or Giannis 1-6, Jokic 1-5. They got to play at least 2 more finals to even get to play in 19 finals games. But just to make it simple math for people, I went 20 games just to see. Did anybody even win 15 out of 20? And a couple did. Starting with Elgin Baylor. Now, obviously, they were playing Boston a lot. They were playing some tough teams. St. Louis Hawks were really good. Baylor's best 20-game stretch is he won 8 out of 20 games in the finals. Just talking about the finals. David Robinson, his record is 8-3 in the finals. So there you go. I mean, he played in the 09 and the 03 finals, won them both, 1-5, 1-6, so 8-3. Now, his best 10-game stretch was 8-2. Elgin Baylor's was 5-5. I'll just throw that in as a side note. Bob Pettit, he was 10-10 in his best 20 games, and he was 6-4 in his best 6-game stretch, or best 10-game stretch. I'm sorry. Kevin Durant, he played 14 finals games, so he's 9-5. So he already lost 5 games, which is more than the 4 that I was just talking about. So he's not in it. His best 10-game stretch in the finals was 8-2 on a super team. That'll do it. He's another one that won 8 out of 9 in the 17 and the 18 finals. Karl Malone, he only played in 12 finals games. He's 4-8. His best stretch was 4-6. Kevin Garnett, his finals record, he only played in 2, was 7-6. His best 10-game stretch is 6-4. George Mikan, he was close, sorta, and his best 20-game stretch was 14-6. His best 10-game stretch was 7-3. Oscar Robertson, he's got a record of 7-4 in the NBA Finals. He only played in 2. His best 10-game stretch was 7-3. Steph Curry, his best 20-game stretch, 14-6. So he's, in the neighborhood, even with the super team, couldn't do it. And don't tell me that the competition that Curry faced between 2015 and 2019 and all that range, please. I mean, don't even get me started on that. I mean, yeah, Cleveland was a really good team. Houston was until Paul got hurt. The Spurs were until Leonard got hurt. So I've done videos on that too. But don't tell me that the Warriors had a harder time of it than the Bulls did, because that's just crap. Moses Malone, he's got a record of he's got a record of he played in 2 finals. In the 81 finals, he lost in 6. And then in the 83 finals, they swept the Lakers. So he's got a record of 6-4. That's just his record. Moses Malone, Jerry West, the best he ever did, and that was from 1969 Game 2 through 1973 Game 1. They went 11-9 in the best 20-game stretch. His best 10-game stretch was 7-3. Dr. J, from 1977 Game 3 through 1983 Game 4, 8-12 was his best 20-game stretch. 8 out of 10 though was his best. That was his best final stretch. Wait, that can't be right. No, that's not right, because Dr. J swept the Lakers in 83. Then they lost in 6. So it's actually 6-4 is his record. I must have wrote that down fast. LeBron James, from 2012 Game 2 to 2015 Game 4, he actually had a winning record in that 20-game stretch, 11-9. His best final stretch is 7-3, and I'm pretty sure that was the 2012 through 2013 in that area. Shaquille O'Neal's best 20-game stretch, and believe me, they had some very weak finals competition. 2000 Pacers, 2001 76ers, 2002 Nets. Come on. Anyway, Shaq 14-6 in his best 20-game stretch. But they did win 9 out of 10. And that would have been the 01, 02, and then either way, either Game 1 of Game 4 or Game 4 of 1995. Either way you do it, they won 9 out of 10 games. Tim Duncan, he was really close. The closest. He won 15 out of 20. That was from the 1999 Game 4 through 2013 Game 1. And for a 19-game stretch, the one I was talking about, he was 14-5. He won 14 out of 19. Not quite as good as Jordan's 15 out of 19, but he played the 99 Knicks. They were the 8th seed. The 03 Nets, I believe they won, 49 games. The 05 Pistons, who, they're a pretty good team, built kind of like San Antonio was. And then the 07 Cleveland Cavaliers. Please. That is some very weak competition. But anyway, Duncan's best 10-game stretch was 8 out of 10. That's good. Olajuwon is 10-7 record in the finals. That's how many he's played. His best 10-game stretch is 7 out of 10. Will Chamberlain, his best 20-game stretch from 1969. It's the same thing as Jerry West. 1969 Game 2 through 1973 Game 1. They were 11-9, and his best 10-game stretch 7-3. Larry Bird, same thing, 11-9. He had some tough competition in the finals, no doubt about it. But this one wasn't tough. 1981 wasn't tough at all. The team was under 500. But from 1981 Game 5 through 1986 Game 5, that would have covered 4 finals. 11-9. His best 10-game stretch was 7-3. Kareem, best 20-game stretch in the finals, 13-7. From 1971 Game 1 through 1982 Game 4. In his best 10-game stretch, 7-3. Kobe Bryant, it's the same one as Shaq's. 14-6, 2000 Game 6 through 2006 Game 6. It's the other way around. It's 2000 Game 6 through 2008 Game 6. 14-6. They had a good record, no doubt. They were Kobe's best. He won 9 out of 10. Him and Shaq won 9 out of 10 finals games. Again, that covers the 2000 finals and the 2001 finals. You're 8-1 right there. And then I think they won, they won the last game of the 2000 finals, so 9 out of 10. And again, Duncan, Kobe, Shaq had very weak finals competition. Now, Kobe did have, it was a little tougher later without Shaq, 08, 9, and 10, it was definitely an upgrade in competition, and his team wasn't quite as good. But those first four finals that Kobe and Shaq played together. I mean, Detroit was good, but everybody acts like they give him a pass for that series, and I never understood why. Like, yeah, Detroit was a good defensive team, but did you know they were facing elimination to the Nets, and that was in the semifinals? Took them to 7 games. Just saying, if a team in the second round can take a team to 7, they are beatable. I make that argument about the 92 Bulls. They got taken to 7 in the second round by the Knicks. They were beatable. People act like they were just this unbeatable juggernaut. They weren't. They were beatable. Had they lost Game 7, they were beat. So when you face elimination, you're beatable. All right. Magic Johnson, his best stretch was 12 out of 20. 1984, Game 6 through 1988, Game 7. His best 10 game was 7-3. Bill Russell, he matched Tim Duncan's 15 out of 20. But his best 19-game stretch was 14-5. 1963 Game 1 through 1966 Game 4. Bill Russell did have a stretch of winning 25 out of 36, which is very good. In fact, Jordan's finals record is 24-11. So Russell actually 25-11, just one game better than that. His best 10 game was 8 out of 10. Now, Michael Jordan. The reason I went with the 15 out of 19 is because nobody else did it. Nobody else has done it. I checked other stars, the Knicks in the 70s, the Boston in the 70s, the Minneapolis Lakers. Well, I showed you George Mikan. He got close. He won, I think he won 14 out of 19, but to win 15 out of 19, no sir. Only the Bulls did that. Their best 10-game stretch was 8-2, and I believe that's that same one of they won the 4 against the Lakers, went 4-2 against Phoenix, so that's 8 out of 10. That's their best. Now, obviously, their total record is 24-11, and they actually did go on a stretch of 23 and 10, or no, I'm sorry, 23 and 9. Get out of here, cat. Sorry about that. 23 and 9. They went on a stretch, and that was basically Jordan's entire finals career minus Game 1 in 91, minus the last 2 games in 98. 23 and 9, a total record of 24 and 11. So anyway, that's about all I got for this video. I did want to just share one other thing real quick. The road finals record of all these players, really quick. I know it's running a little long. Just the road finals records in the finals. Here you go. You got George Mikan was 8-7. David Robinson 4-2. Bob Pettit 4-10. Steph Curry 10-6. Kevin Durant 3-4. LeBron James 7-18. That's right. He's only won 7 finals games in 10 finals series. Look that up. Kevin Garnett 3-4. Tim Duncan 10-7. That's good. Anytime you got a winning record, that's good. Kobe Bryant 9-11. Shaq 7-9. Karl Malone 1-5. Hakeem Olajuwon 3-5. Larry Bird 5-10. Magic Johnson 9-16. Moses Malone 3-2. Dr. J 3-8. Kareem 11-16. Elgin Baylor 7-19. One worse than LeBron did even. Wilt Chamberlain 5-12. Oscar Robertson 4-1, but he only played 5. And the finals they won, they swept the Bullets, who were 42-40. Let's make sure to throw that nugget in there. Jerry West was also, he was actually 9-19, because Baylor played a finals without West, and West played, I think, 1 or 2 without Baylor. And then Bill Russell 17-15 on the road in the finals. Again, if he was the juggernaut killing everybody, why is he barely over 500 on the road in the finals? 17-15. The best record, though, is Michael Jordan, 12-6. You can count Oscar Robertson if you want, but he only played in 5 finals games. But anybody who has at least 10 finals road games, it's Michael Jordan all day. I mean, he's 12-6 on the road in the finals. So, again, the best of all time. So anyway, that's all I got for this video. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, please hit the like button. And, if you think there's another streak or something I should be looking at, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. I'm always up to do a new thing, Sometimes you guys have given me some good ideas and I've explored. So, by all means, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Until next time.